All right. Good afternoon to the June 5th, 2024 Plastow Planning Board meeting. Charlene, could you call the roll?
Can't see the time, can you tell me?
6:30.
Thank you. Okay, Richard Anthony,
Here.
Aaron Robinson is excused.
Excused.
Laurie Millette,
Here.
Tim Moore,
Here.
Tom Alberti is excused. Dan Kane,
Excused.
okay, very good. Bill Coy
Here.
and Victoria Healy.
All right. Take a minute to review the minutes from May 15th. All right. And they're on
Make a
page-
motion to approve as written.
I thought that in the email.
There was something about, did we need to add somebody's name to something?
Verify someone.
It was done?
It was done?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the right name is on here now.
Oh, it's all set? Oh, okay.
I'll second.
Yeah.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4-0-0. All right. So for purposes of the agenda, I think we're going to put the public hearing off and do the community involvement portion of it first. So with that said, we have some representatives here from the Southern New Hampshire Chamber of Commerce. And if you'd like to come up and just make sure you speak into the microphone so we can pick it up on video and audio. Just the microphone in front of you right here.
Good evening. My name is Cindy Woodbury, and I'm the Executive Director of the Southern New Hampshire Chamber of Commerce, which was formerly known as the Greater Salem Chamber of Commerce.
Good evening. My name is Robin Sweeney Glickle, and I am the current chairman of the Board of Directors for the Southern New Hampshire Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for inviting us tonight.
Excellent. Welcome. So, just before we continue, Plastow's been with the chamber for approximately about a year now, right? So, what I kind of like to at least hear from you, is the involvement that you've had with Plastow, perhaps with some of the municipal functions of Plastow, and maybe talk about generically what it is that the chamber can do for Plastow and Plastow economic development. So with that said.
Okay. Since we started with you a year ago, I've reached out to many of the town departments to talk to them about what we can offer as far as communication between all of you and the businesses in town. We did buy a mailing list a year ago of 615 Plastow businesses, and we sent a special offer to all of them for a chamber discount, and that still is continues through 2024. In January, we visited the Plastow Fire Department when we were doing one of our signature events called the Yeti Quest. The Yeti event is a 7-foot-tall laminated cardboard that people can go up to the cardboard picture, take a picture of the QR code and enter to win a cruise for 2. It's available to everyone. But we actually have a 6'5" Yeti, physical Yeti, it's one of our board of directors, that came in to take pictures. We find that when we bring him out to the different towns and all of the departments, that people really enjoy it. Take pictures of the building, inside and out, the staff, whoever's willing, and really presents a nice, smiling event. Great for the community to see them in action. We did that with the police department. We also did that with the fire department with the Yeti Quest. We also did a ribbon cutting for the Plastow Fire Department for the new ambulance service. And that was very well attended by townspeople, took pictures, did a press release to announce that. And recently we just did a ribbon cutting for Let's Talks Beauty on May 9th. So those have been the activities so far as physically in Plastow. We also do have one of our chamber members that serves on our ambassador committee, and she has visited quite a few of the local businesses recently to talk about the chamber, what we offer them, and explain how to contact us.
Just for purposes, what company is the ambassador? Is that Pest End? or-
Yes.
Okay, so
Got it.
Pest End is an ambassador company for the chamber.
And
Go on.
how I found that company listing was actually somebody had talked about your local companies that have been in Plastow for many years, and they had a list of them, and that's who she went out to visit and talk about the chamber.
Excellent. So members of the chamber, I mean, so I guess some of the benefits of, let's say, being with the chamber, if let's say, you were a Plastow business as such, what are those benefits? I mean, is there in terms of like advertising or networking and such?
We
What
have-
opportunities are available there?
We have many different networking opportunities. We do business before hours, business after hours, happy hours, signature events. There's 7 of them during the year that people can be involved in. We have a great economic development breakfast that we had in April at the Artisan Hotel in Salem with 6 guest speakers. And
This was recent?
recent.
Okay.
And anyone can attend that. You don't have to be a member to attend the Economic Development Breakfast. We had people speaking on workforce housing, on the financial outlook for small businesses. We invited Joe Farrow from Tuscan Village to talk about his pains and gains as he was growing the development there. State Senator Darrell Abbas came and spoke. So we really we reached out to all of our members and asked them what they had for questions that we could discuss at the breakfast. We tried to do a survey with everyone to hear, and of course that day also asked people if they had any questions for the panelists. It was very well received.
Actually, you had about 200 or so. Is
Yes.
that a number I seem to remember?
We also had some experts on healthcare and benefits, which are increasingly important to small businesses because they're expensive, and giving them some information and knowledge on that as well, which is important.
So something like that in terms of benefits and HR and such like that. Is that tailored towards, let's say, small businesses and
Yes,
such? Yeah.
absolutely. Yep, small businesses. And we had a financial planner there too that works with small businesses. So, all the speakers were also, they were there to network too. There was time to network before the breakfast and after.
And you have about 7 of these types of events that you have one, in fact, I think coming up, in Canopy Lake?
Yeah, go ahead.
That's a business after hours at Canopy Lake Park.
Yeah.
So people have the opportunity to do the rides in the afternoon, and then at night, there's a dinner at Castaway Island just for the chamber members. So it's a great way to network and meet other people.
It's one of the largest we have as far as at networking. It's not our signature event. That's like golf tournaments and do a hidden jewel and annual dinner and stuff. But that's a big networking event, the Canopy Lake.
Now, in terms of, let's say the event, is there some sort of a scholarship type things that the chamber's involved in? And
We just wrapped up, last month we had, one of our signature events was the Taste of Southern New Hampshire, which we had restaurants from all over our catchment area come, and people paid $50 to come in and do a sampling. The proceeds from that event every year go to, this year we handed out over $5,000 in scholarship money. We do 3 $1,000 scholarships. Those are for students that are either working for a chamber business, or their parents work for a chamber business, or their parents own a chamber business. So, anyone there, we also send it out to all the schools, even though for some of the schools, like it's small, Timberlane gets it, but it's still open to students there. We also, in addition to that, we did 2 $500 scholarships for the regional CTE center that we have where we do, that doesn't catch sending in students. I don't know.
What's a CTE? center?
Career technical education at Salem High School. They have a regional CTE center, and I'm not sure if Timberlane
I think Timberlane does send
sends some
students over
students
there.
in
Yeah, they
certain
do.
ones.
Yeah.
And we had a scholarship for a number of years for that category, kids going to a technical or two-year school. When we found that it's just not something they apply to. So this year we asked for teachers to nominate students from all the different categories who were, in need. Like some of these kids in automotive programs are going into automotive programs, but they have to spend $1,000 on tools. One of our members donated 3 full toolboxes to these kids, but the chamber was able to give out 2 $500 scholarships to a couple of students going into the trades. And then we also do an interview contest every year. This year we had Wyndham, Pelham, and Salem participate. We have invited Timberlane and Pinkerton, but it's through the business programs at the school. So they actually do an interview contest at the school. There's a winner in each school. And then we bring all the winners from each school together. So we are hoping to outreach, we continue to all our catchment area to participate. And all those, the winner there gets $250, runners up get $100. So we are really committed. We have a business education collaborative that meets monthly to reaching out to the schools and partnering. Through Salem High School, which is our biggest area last year, we had over 100 interns out at chamber businesses.
In terms of like Timberlane, I mean, how much, just selfishly, will I ask about Timberlane?
I'm going to be honest and say that we have reached out. It's really working with the collaborative at the high school. So we need someone. We have representatives from Pelham and Wyndham and Salem sit on that business education collaborative. We have reached out. Stacy Kalelis, who is our school to work coordinator at Salem, does have contacts in Timberlane and Pinkerton, and she's reached out. And unfortunately, it's a matter of people in this position. They are also overseeing other things. You know what I mean? So it's a matter, we will continue to reach out because we would love full participation from our entire catchment area.
All right, yeah. I mean, that's probably something that, we could probably reach out and kind of
Absolutely.
emphasize
And we get
that.
it started up again in September, so there's time. And I know Stacy has reached out to the person at Timberlane, but it's, like I said, it's a matter of,
Probably talk to someone on the
Yeah.
school board.
Yeah.
Push it.
it's well worth it. And we do a lot of programs for the kids. We also do, we go into the schools and we do networking events. We try to connect these kids with the businesses. I mean, we have close to
Well,
500 businesses.
You have internships.
Yeah,
like-
we have internships. 500 businesses, and all these businesses are looking to hire people, right?
Can you just for, focus on that a minute? What does it mean to say, let's say for Plastow, what would an internship program look like for Plastow if we were to present it to, let's say, Timberlane or?
The internship program that primarily the connection we have is out of Salem, but we also have kids from Wyndham, right, and Pelham that are placed in chamber businesses. And chamber businesses, like I said, are throughout the Timberland and catchment area. If there's, the person that would be the school to work coordinator, or if there's someone at Timberlane that does work on internships with students, we would love to have them reach out to us so we could tell them how they can get connected with chamber businesses and get interns. Normally, the interns that are high school students go out during a block because it's a formal program.
Okay.
But, last year, we had my son interned like in a summer, not getting paid. Now most of the interns are paid during the school year even, but it's a great way to expose them to the businesses in the area.
It's just a question on that, internship wise. Do you have anything or contemplate doing anything, let's say, for municipal internships or whatever? Is that a real thing, or?
We haven't, but it's certainly something,
If
that
somebody
we
were to
could be
intern,
open
let's say, in
to.
local business,
Yeah.
local government.
The other thing is that we have also, Cindy and I have gone out and spoke to the FBLA clubs, the Future Business Leader clubs. They come to our events and volunteer. And they get exposure to network with businesses. And that's something we're happy to do, is to go out to the school, to meet with people, to engage in this process. It's one of the most rewarding things that we do at the chamber is connecting the kids with the businesses in the community. So we've gone to Wyndham and we've gone to Salem, we've gone to Pelham to talk about that as well. So we're more than happy to go out and talk about it.
Right.
But I will be honest and say Timberlane probably has to have some structure in place to be able to do it.
All right.
They have to have a way to send us kids or, connect them, but we're happy to help with that.
It'd be great to initiate that
Absolutely.
conversation.
Yeah.
If anyone else has any questions, feel free to interrupt. I mean, I have a couple more that I want to ask, if anyone wants to.
Good, go right ahead.
Yep, we'll let you.
All right.
You're on a roll. Why stop now?
In terms of like advertising or providing networking, let's say I'm a small business, local business or something. I mean, in Plastow, we have a lot of, let's say, people that are operating business, let's say out of a residence, things like that. And if they want to if they want to advertise, is there a way to like push advertisement over the chamber's network or something like that?
There's several different ways. One, that we do a Friday flyer every week that people can advertise in. There is a small fee. It's $10 to advertise, but it does.
How long does that run? Is it a week?
It runs for that week. It goes out in electronic format.
So $10 for
$10.
okay.
It goes out to about 2,000 people.
All right.
The other thing is anyone that's using social media can certainly tag us if they're a member of the chamber, and that will also feed with our social media. I'm happy to help any member, and I do that quite often when they join. I'll ask them where they're putting their advertising and social media. I can tell you which paper to go to that you're going to see more advertisements, and also many of the different Facebook pages. There's some that work better than others as far as getting the.
So a chamber member would be able to sort of, leverage, if they didn't, let's say, have organic marketing, they'd be able to engage with you and say that, hey, look,
Absolutely.
can I push this out here? Do you have suggestions and such? And you would work with them.
We also follow their page,
Yep.
Facebook and Instagram, and we'll share for them when we do see them. If they have a special event coming up, certainly we tell them to talk to us, let us know what's going on, tag us, so that we can also share it for them. And we're happy to do that. Yeah, we do offer a membership for single-person, home-based members, people that sell on Etsy, Farmers Market.
All right.
It's $21 a month with a 1-year commitment, or $252 a year. That membership is the same benefit of someone having a storefront. They get to network, attend any functions. Most of our functions that we do don't have a cost associated with it at all, other than if we have a meal at a plated facility, or if you go somewhere and you order an alcoholic beverage, you pay for your own.
Mm-hmm.
But they have that chance to network. We do some trainings at the chamber that's totally free for small businesses with other members, and it's a great way to engage.
Excellent.
Today, we just launched a college student membership. So for college students that are either in the area or home for the summer that want the opportunity to network with local businesses, that for $50, they can attend most of all of our events too, and network, make connections with people in the community, because more than likely they're going to be the next, business people in our community. So we just started that today too.
That's great.
And that's $50 a year with a college
$50 a year.
ID. So we got that idea from having an intern in our chamber ourselves, because he's going to a local college. We'd love to see him stay connected. And we actually met him because he volunteered through FBLA last year at our Festival of Wreaths. So it was a great way. We saw him there in December. He ended up being our intern for the spring. He's graduating high school Friday night and going local.
If you don't mind asking, but what local college is that?
He is attending Merrimack College.
Merrimack. Okay. Right. That's in North Andover, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And his focus is on accounting. So he thought it was a great idea also.
No, it does. Sounds great. I mean, from my perspective, I like the idea that, the local, the Etsy type advertising, the leveraging of the marketing, for members, but also the internship for the trades, because that's a big thing right now. Because a lot of people are saying maybe college isn't the way to go. Maybe it's too much of a you're not seeing the benefit. But then going to trades, I mean they're hot right now. So
Yeah, they are making the comeback now.
yeah.
Well, Rob and I attended the industry signing night last Monday night at the high school. And this started 3 years ago because I saw a chamber in the Midwest that did it. I said, why? They're giving great signings and a lot of press release and a lot of hoorah about the athletes and the children getting into the great schools, but there's nothing about the trades. So the signing night, they get up on the stage, they have a chance to speak if they'd like to. They receive accolades from whatever business they're going to work for, whatever school they're going in. Some receive gifts from, swag bags from them, but they have a chance to sign their graduation cap with the school of careers counselor. And that graduation cap goes on the CTE office so everyone can know where they're going to work. We take pictures, make a great event for them and their parents. And what really impressed me was so many people got up and said, I went to school here, and I'm thrilled to be able to offer a job to the next generation coming in.
That's
Yeah,
outstanding.
that's great.
And this year, we started the first year. How many were the first year, Cindy?
9.
And how many this year?
I lost count. Last year was about 30, and it grew so much that we went from the little TV studio that we had it in last year to the Performing Arts Center.
And this year, every kid walked out of there with some kind of monetary scholarship.
Oh, nice.
So it's a partnership. We have we are in Salem, but the school to work coordinator has reached out to us because we have the ability to connect them with those businesses. We have almost 500 businesses in our catchment area, and I mean it's a great story, and we're happy to do that for any community. To connect them. Just because kids are going to Timberlane, they can be connected with businesses anywhere that that we in our catchment area that are members with us, and we have almost 500 businesses.
Outstanding.
That's great.
Main thing, just to switch for a second here. You're associated with the Wyndham Economic Development Committee, correct? I mean, do you have a position on their board, or?
We do have a position on that board. Actually, this year, it's one of our vice chairs is on that board, serves on it. And he attends the meetings.
All right. If you could just maybe a little bit, just discuss what that looks like. I mean, just.
I can't speak much to the Wyndham one because he has been the one attending
Okay.
it. I can say when I started at the chamber, we actually had an economic development committee, which was made up of a variety of people. I think the combination of COVID and time, we found no one was really attending the meetings, whether they were in person or on Zoom. So this year we made a decision to turn it into an event and bring in the best speakers. We asked the people what they wanted to hear and what they wanted to learn about. And we had 6 phenomenal speakers. If anyone wants to see the link of that, we can certainly send that to you to watch. We have it recorded. And, everyone is welcome to attend. But we decided to really focus on making it the best event possible since we weren't getting the people to attend the committees. I think most people are doing research online, and no one wants to come and sit in person.
I just want to, just as a result, we are open to do this, right? It's hard to get people engaged in it. But as a result of our economic development breakfast, there was a lot of questions about the water situation in southern New Hampshire. So
Water's a big thing here in Plastow.
we are going to have in July, I think. Do you have the date yet?
July 10th.
July 10th, we're going to do a water forum with Tanya Donnelly, who is a state rep who is on the commission up in Concord for that, and who else?
Some representatives from the DES.
From the DES. So that was an issue that came up that people were interested in hearing more about. So we were able to take that and facilitate it, bring people in And we can send you the information. Will be on our website. It's going to be a 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. The other thing we are trying with economic development meetings and lunch and learns is people aren't leaving their offices, or people aren't in their offices anymore. They're working remote. So we're going to try something different at the end of the day and do it so that's going to be a free event open to all members. It's going to be at the Alatizio Conference Center in Wyndham. So
Yeah, well, I mean, we have experience with water in the
Yeah,
sense that we have, we're the beneficiaries, I think, of
Yeah.
that program to kind of bring water down from Massabesic and such. So, but in terms of economic development, I mean, I think at this, we're kind of, broadly kind of doing the outlines of our master plan, the economic development portion of it, and so. I think there'd be a role for the chamber that if we were going to do something formally, to have a presence like that, and also the information that we just talked about. This is like an incredible amount of information. I don't think we're pushing that out on the town page, because it'd be really great to be able to get, if you're the advertising like $50, a year for the college students with IDs. Any of that information, I'd love to see it where, it can be prominently pushed, on our municipal platforms. I mean, I see the stuff when you get it in my inbox, and I kind of push it out to the Facebook pages that I push it out onto. But I'd like to kind of see that a little more formally integrated with what we have here in Plastow.
Well, certainly if there's a page that you want us to be on that I'm not aware of, let me know, or if there's somewhere else we should be sending it. We do post any events for our members on our calendar site, and we do that with the town's events too. Everyone is welcome to share what's happening. So if there's something about Old Home Day and you want to share it, that's a feature that can be done. It's just that it takes a person to be able to put that information, date, time, and what's going on. But we're happy to.
maybe we can provide you, like we call them sliders, create a slider that you can post with a link to go back to the chamber website so people can see what's going on and see the benefits. Do you think that would work?
Mhm.
Yeah, just something that people can click on a link and go there, and we can send that to you. You could put it wherever you want, and it could link back to the chamber.
No, I think that'd be great. I definitely see. I think we should be, pushing a lot of this stuff to the school.
And
That's
we'll be honest,
low
we
hanging
would love
fruit.
to see the membership in Plastow grow. It's been just about a year. We have, a number of members, but we certainly would love to see that grow. We're doing our best to try to reach out through the community, and to like Patty's out visiting some businesses. We're trying to do more events over this way because it's great for our members in Hampstead and Atkinson too, right? Plastow is a big hub that could be as strong as Salem could be on the other end of our catchment area. So we were really excited to be able to have Plastow as part of our catchment area. And we think there's a great opportunity to grow in this market.
Excellent.
Yeah.
The police chief had mentioned to me that you were replacing a community sign that was paid for 30 years ago. I don't know where exactly it is, but that it had lists different.
Probably the one right out front here.
So what I had mentioned to him was that we would love to be able to do a ribbon cutting when the sign is official and host maybe the businesses that are putting funds towards this. Do a small gathering somewhere and tell people what we do. We're willing to meet with anyone at any time. It's just what works for everyone's schedule.
And I'm sure the fire chief will have you back when the ladder truck hits down.
I'm ready. But, we find, as far as for the towns that and believe me, we've done cannons, we've done fire trucks, we've done additions to buildings, but the taxpayers love to see the community connected together, whether it's the police chief, the fire chief, the DPW. The biggest bang for the buck on social media is seeing town people being together with the businesses. And that's why we love to do those type of ribbon cuttings, because you see the difference. And ribbon cuttings aren't just for a business opening. It's for a milestone anniversary. It's for you get new equipment or you refurbish something like this sign. It's a perfect time to say, you know, let's look at what's new going on in Plastow. And that's when you see the community focus on, they love to see the good. They love to see what the businesses are doing to help other people in the community. And they love to see everybody together.
No, I personally like to see, the better side of Plastow, let's say, put forward. It drives me crazy when you see something in, the Tribune or something like that, or some other paper, where it's like, something like, car crashes and naked person runs through backyard or something like that. That was 2 years ago.
But actually,
Yeah.
that's what I've been working on
Yeah.
with a lot of the things that we do for marketing. We want to focus on the good. That's what we're known for. We'll collaborate. We're not competing with anyone. We're here to help.
Mhm.
And we can offer a lot of services. You need balloons? I can tell you where to go for balloons. You need special chocolates? I can tell you, because we have all of those home-based members too that are fantastic. So if you looked at the last event we did, the signature event for the Taste of Southern New Hampshire, the raffle prizes were amazing. We had cornhole boards made by the high school students that said, live free or die in New Hampshire with the old man on the mountain. The kids made those boards, painted those boards, and our intern shellacked those boards to protect it. The raffle prizes, a lot of them were made by these home-based members. We had another gentleman that does 52 with a view, and you put in the mountain that you've climbed. And I'd rather get a donation from him and share something that's locally made in New Hampshire.
One of our raffle prizes was a group of women that own their own business, women-owned businesses, single proprietors came together and put together a raffle basket that advertised their businesses. That's what we want to do. I mean, and while the Taste of Southern New Hampshire was great and people came and had a good time, the vendors were talking to each other. The businesses were talking to each other, how they can connect and how they can work together.
I believe
And that's
Plastow
really
Pizza
the
Company
goal.
was
Yes,
there?
they were there.
Okay.
Yeah.
They were there.
Oh, yeah, they were
And
great.
it was funny, Plastow Pizza Company was there, and Kalari was there, and Kalari sold the business to Plastow Pizza Company. So we had almost 30 vendors. We had students assigned to come in and help them, so it wasn't heavy lifting for the vendor that night, in and out. We tried to make it very seamless for volunteers, for the vendors. And what I was very proud of is that we put together swag bags. So our marketing person invited all social media influencers to come in that talk about the restaurants. And in addition, anyone else that donated a raffle prize. So they made labels in a bag this big, and each social media influencer left with a card to go visit the restaurant again, or a discount on something else. They got a bag full of goodies that was amazing, and every single business that was there was advertised on the outside and the
And
inside.
we had like Phantom Gourmet, Merrimack Valley Eats, so we had a lot of influencers there. And that again is a benefit to our members, to our businesses. So that's what we try to do, just connect everybody back together.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's great.
Kind of disappointed that I missed out on that.
Next year.
Yes.
Next year.
It was the first year it was back since COVID, and it was great.
I was going to say, it sounded like it was delicious.
It was.
All right. I guess I'm going to commit to at least getting, your contact information and push, try to push it out to the town hall here, so that I like the idea of the connecting with the slider or something like that, just so that so people can see, what it is that the benefits of joining the chamber, the marketing aspect of it, and the networking. I think that's. And, I'd probably reach out to you a little later too, because again, economic development is what we're formally, kind of tasked with here on the planning board. And I like the idea of the chamber close, so.
And just to let you know, our next signature event is the Hidden Jewel in August. And the Hidden Jewel event is to recognize women that do good quietly in the background in the communities. So people nominate women that live or work in our 6 area towns. We also choose a mother of pearl, which is a senior citizen, and a young professional. And last year we had our first Plastow nomination, and the person attended the celebration. This year it's in Sandown at Zorvino Vineyards on August 21st. It's an afternoon celebration, 3:30 to 6:30. Each woman will receive a little piece of granite with a jewel, and the jewel represents, for instance, Ruby is someone that's made of heart and passion, and that whatever they're working on. So the jewels will be chosen next week and then notified, and we look forward to seeing someone from Plastow being on the hidden jewel list for this year. I would like to see more nominations next year.
So what's the mechanism for nominating somebody?
There is a nomination form that needs to be filled out. You have to describe the person and list. This is someone that does good, not just because of their job. It's something that they're doing in the community, volunteering
Above and beyond.
above and beyond, exactly. And because we consider them hidden, people don't always know about it. So anyone can nominate anyone else. And
But it is closed
it is closed for this year.
because they're.
We're choosing the winners next Wednesday, actually. But there'll be a great celebration, and I know we do have nominations from Plastow for
We
this
honor
year.
someone from each of our
Towns.
communities.
All right.
Thanks.
So that's the next event coming up. We're also, for the first time in many years, doing a nonprofit fair expo in October, which will be held at night. We'll invite students from every school. October 23rd, it will be at St. Joe's in Salem. So people that are looking to get people on their board, for volunteers, people that have to do assigned volunteer hours for whatever project they're involved with or organization. It's a chance to connect. We have over 54 nonprofits in the chamber as members right now.
And you don't, to be a part of the fair, you don't have to be a member. It's open to any nonprofit that would like to participate that afternoon and network with the community.
We thought, and I've been trying to notify every single town, every school, so that they don't use that date for some other big event. And people can have an opportunity to come and check out all that's there.
What's the date on that
October
again?
23rd,
October 20th.
5:30 to 7:30 at night.
But we'll get you that slider and then you could like.
I think so. Like I said, it's a massive amount of information.
Yeah, it is.
It's a lot.
It is, it's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, you're saying dates, and I'm not the
We
keeper of the
serve-
calendar.
I mean, we have nearly 500 members and we serve 6 communities, so it
Yeah.
is a lot. But, the more we can bring the community and the businesses and, from town to town together, that's what makes it successful. And those are the benefits to the businesses that are part of the Chamber of Commerce.
Excellent. And that's the point of having you here. I want that message pushed out and as visible as possible. And I appreciate.
Thank you
know,
for having us.
If anyone else has any questions.
I think we're good. There's a lot of good information.
Yes, I have
You
it.
have Richard's?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
I did print out a few things. I'll leave them over here on the table for you, and always feel free to call me with any questions. We're here to help.
I will.
We'd love to be able to share this with more of the townspeople, and any of the different departments, committees. You're always welcome.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
coming.
you.
How many more printouts do you think I have? And my favorite people are behind me, and I didn't know it.
Right. I think, here we are. Yeah, exactly.
Come on down.
Yes, please. I was just saying that I was bemoaning the fact that I didn't have my copy
you.
of it with me.
Okay, great.
And if you want to get on the front page of
Yeah.
the paper, that paper. Yeah, exactly.
You are on the front page.
Thank you.
Doing well, thank you. Oh, I really
If we're on the
appreciate it.
front page, it'll probably
There's the taste
not
of
be
Southern
good.
Hampshire, and there's those cornhole boards on the front. So I'll leave a picture of
thank you.
these.
How you doing?
and people can
Nice to
just
meet you.
take this. This is what I was just talking about.
Right.
There you go.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
more of these out here.
Okay.
And just before the chamber people leave, my understanding is that you work very closely with the chamber. So you know each other.
Lots of synergy.
Yes, that's it.
What we're talking about is right on their front page.
I saw that.
Like
Yeah.
that,
Oh, yeah,
yes.
there it is.
I think that's that's what caught my attention when I was coming out of Market Basket, and I saw that. I was like, wait a minute, I know this.
It's amazing how many copies we put in here, right off the shelf. Amazing.
If you could just
Yep, so-
for the purpose of the introduction,
Yeah.
people
My
watching.
name is Fred Young. I am the editor and art director of the Evergreen. And this is State Representative and Pelham Selectman Kim A. Bear, who is the founder of the Evergreen.
Right.
And thank you for having us here today.
Thank you for coming.
I'm going to give you a brief background on the Evergreen. 2 years ago, Kim came to me and said, I want to start a community newspaper in Pelham. I said, okay. She said, will you join in with me and be the editor and art director? I said, okay. And I was a little skeptical at first. How can a small community support a community newspaper? The key was that the local businesses stepped up to the plate and helped support the newspaper. At that time, it was called the Pelham Evergreen. Started off as a 16-page black and white publication. It grew from there, 24 pages, 32 pages, 40 pages, 48 pages. And after the first few months, some of the local community said, hey, I like that idea. The philosophy that Kim put into the paper was a positive community news information. We have a thumbs up. We don't have a thumbs down in the paper. And it's informative. It's not about there was an accident on Route 28 or whatever. So Salem joined in, Wyndham joined in, Hudson. Then with the Carriagetown News ceasing publication, opened up Atkinson and Hampstead, contacted us and wanted to be part of it. We were thrilled to find out that Plastow is interested in joining the towns that we cover. In my editorial in the June issue, I mentioned that we're pleased to have Plastow joining the communities we cover. So now we're actually, the July issue will be our 2-year anniversary of the Evergreen. And it's still growing. So with that, one of the things we have planned for the July issue, and we're going to need your help on, I've reserved the front page to feature the Plastow Old Home Day.
Oh, that's
Okay.
great.
Yeah.
What that means, normally I send out to the printer on the 21st of the month all the files to have it printed. All right, I'm going to hold that back. I think your Old Home Day is the 22nd.
Yes, it's actually a 4-day event this year, but the 22nd is the actual
Is the
day
actual
on the
day.
green with the parade. and all
Okay.
that.
What I'm asking your help in supplying me some photos and a brief write-up as soon as possible on Old Home Day. I've already got the headline, Plastow celebrates Old Home Day. Okay, I want to shot, it doesn't have to be a real lengthy article, but I'd like to have photos. Always send me the largest file size that you have on the for the photos, so they reproduce well. It'll be in color. So I have reserved that as long as I get a commitment that somebody will follow through, that I can have that information maybe on the 23rd, I think, which is a Sunday,
It is a Sunday.
so that I can release it to the printer on Monday and have it printed by that Wednesday and then distributed the week of the 23rd.
Yeah, because Sunday, there's another big event happening in town too. It's the 75th anniversary of the Lions.
Oh, okay.
And there's a big event happening right over on Terra
Really?
Farms, which is by the railroad tracks.
Okay. Maybe the other thing it's critical if we're going to include Plastow in the whole process. I need email addresses from from the fire chief to the police chief to the head of the Parks and Rec Department, Conservation Committee, selectmen, et cetera. I send out an email every month advising our article contributors to the deadline. Typically, the deadline is the 8th of the month prior to, like for the July issue, the deadline is the 8th of the month. Couple of days leeway in there. But I need to notify these people so they can give us the information. The other big factor in this is if Plastow steps up to the plate and gives us this information, could result in, or will result possibly in more pages, more work, et cetera. We need the business community in Plastow to help support it. Plastow has quite a few businesses, okay, along 125, et cetera. We need your help in getting those people to help support the paper. That's a critical thing if we're going to be able to do this. Absolutely critical. The same way Pelham did, we've got advertisers from Salem, et cetera.
What's the mechanism then for getting this type of business type support in the paper? I mean,
We need contact information. We need help from everybody and anybody who knows business owners. We do free ad design. We'll design the ad. No charge. Okay, our rates are very reasonable. If they're a chamber member, they get the color ad at the black and white rate. That's why Cindy in the chamber has been very instrumental in the growth of the Evergreen.
so a chamber member running an advertisement in the Evergreen gets, at the color rate. I mean, for
A color ad at
a
the
color
black
ad
and white
for a
rate.
black and white rate.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Kim, anything you want to add to?
I did want to add, so when you start a newspaper, people tend to think in the town, holy cow, what is this going to look like? What are they going to be writing about us, right? And because it's a community paper, it puts community together. We've asked Pelham, and we're looking for updates, working on Salem now. Love to get an update from Plastow, your head of your planning board, to write a short article once a month. Head of your selectmen to write a short article once a month on what you're working on. That way we're not going off of your minutes or writing something up. A lot of people, when they see this paper, think that we've got a whole staff. We get calls every day. Can you send a reporter down here to take pictures and write an article? And I say, yeah, we don't have an office, and Fred works out of his home, and I have my home office, and that's the extent of it. There's no one else. My husband, David, handles the distribution.
Yeah, and in the types of articles we have in there are very beneficial. From plus, we every month we have we feature a nonprofit organization. Okay, we do feature interviews of various businesses. In fact, in the July issue, there's a Plastow business that Cindy's the chamber sent us a photo. It was a ribbon cutting. I forget the name of the company, but so they're always feeding us information. But we have a golden spotlight. If you know of a senior citizen in your town you'd like to have as one of our golden spotlight, we'd love to know that person. We send up a series. Kim sends out a series of questions. They answer it. We publish it with their picture. The people love it. You'll see in there from the Pelham Parks and Rec, what's all the events that are happening in the month of, in that case, it's the month of June. So this is the type of thing we're looking for from Plastow, to give you people that information. If someone was to go to this website, that website, this, and this, and this, it would take all day to find out some of the information that's already contained in one newspaper here. Myself, I love sitting down with a newspaper and leafing through it.
We're of that age, that's what we grew up
Yeah, there you go. There you go. But no, even some of the younger people love seeing their picture in the paper. They love it. So with that, we're open to questions.
No, I think this is obviously a big void came from the Carriage Town.
Sure.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
And I know it's,
People miss
the ones
that.
who would really love this more than anything else are the seniors in the community.
Mhm.
Yep.
You know, because that's what I've heard from more than anything else.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's a great thing that they could actually have something like this with all the events that are going on.
Right.
Not just in Plastow.
Yeah.
But different towns.
Yes. And it's a benefit to the advertisers from Plastow that this paper is going out to Wyndham, to Salem, to Pelham, Hampstead, Atkinson.
Right.
I mean, some of those towns don't have, like Atkinson, I can only think of a few businesses really that are in Atkinson. But your State Line Pet, they should be in this publication.
Well, I know State Line Pet used to be in the Carriage Town News all the time.
Yeah.
That's one that I used it, the coupons.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I think
we'd
it's-
love to have them in here. You know, what's the landscaping place, Landscape Depot?
That's in Kingston.
Yeah, I
Big
think that is
businesses
Kingston.
that would really benefit from having people in other communities know about them.
Yeah, like an Agway or something like that.
Yeah,
Or, you
yeah.
know.
So we have subscriptions as well, and we offer free subscriptions to the paper by going to www.theevergreennewspaper.com.
Yeah, that's in the paper, actually.
Yeah, I saw it right here.
Yeah,
I was gonna ask about that. So-
Yeah.
So the seniors, they could just subscribe to it and they'd have it mailed
They
to
can
them?
go to the website or they can just fill out the form.
Okay, perfect.
I got a stack like that
Yeah.
yesterday.
yeah.
So you're distributing, I mean, right now, I mean, I saw this at Market Basket, you know, walking out, and that's where I grabbed it. But are there any other places that you're staging it or, you know, that,
Oh, quite a few.
I picked one up at Hannaford's in Hampstead the
Correct.
Yep.
other day.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're at the Depot Crossing in Hampstead.
A lot of the libraries, town halls.
The libraries, town,
Has-
we
has-
will put these in the library and town hall. In fact, the Plastow Library, Public Library, is going to be in the July issue with their events.
Oh,
They've already
excellent.
contacted me.
I was just going to ask you
Yeah,
that.
I already have a spot laid out for them. In fact, they sent their information in to me today.
Oh, that's great.
And I know Recreation had used this too.
Yep. Both. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, as long as I have the email addresses to notify these people, then,
And did they reach out to you from the Timberlane School District?
I emailed them, one of
I
the.
think it was
my
Mr.
issue,
Henderson.
I think it was your son who got me the principal's name.
Okay, yeah.
I emailed them. What we're going to have is the graduating class photos of the towns that we cover, Timberlane included. I gave them a deadline date. I know some of them are actually being taken this week.
I think so, yeah.
Last week. So I will, you know, if I don't get it from these people, I will contact them. But Salem has already sent theirs in, and I know Wyndham and Pelham are working on theirs. So
So you have the Timberlane Performance Center, right?
Yeah.
We see Salem will send in sometimes some of their
yeah,
performance
for the
center
Seaford. Yep.
productions. So wherever you're thinking, you know, pictures of people, they love it.
Yeah.
So wherever you see a picture, if you just send it to us, as long as it's high resolution, we publish just about everything. We publish events. We don't charge for anything coming in. Only people that get charged are our advertisers, and they come in. They come galloping in to advertise.
Mhm.
Once this gets more into your town, you will find that. So we just need your support to have you guys lean forward and submit those monthly articles and get us some email addresses. Fred will send out an email around the 27th, 28th of the month and saying, here's the deadline, and it hits, I don't know, 300 people.
I've lost count of that. Yeah.
Lost count. So and then it just starts to.
All right. In terms of, let me see. Oh, wow, I just drew a blank. I'm sorry. No,
So your committee itself, you're charged with developing more businesses or supporting the existing businesses?
I think what we're looking to do is the economic development portion of our master plan. So, thematically, I think what we've talked about is being able to, in essence, try to market Plastow and try to market Plastow businesses and that Plastow's open for business type thing. So, if there's, having something like this, like a local publication where local businesses are able to advertise, I think is huge. I think the Carriage Town News, when it was here, and then it wasn't, there was a void, and I was completely psyched that to see, something, fill it. And so I guess it just seems natural that, if we're gonna talk about advertising, then, having something that says Plastow on a paper,
Yeah, Plastow will be in the masthead on the July issue as one of the towns we cover.
and
We're doing the front page for you.
exactly, and being able to at least, get in terms of advertising, I guess that's what I was thinking of. How long let's say a business were to say that they wanted to advertise in this publication, how long does that run? Is it just for a monthly spot?
We have a one-time rate, a three-time rate, and a six-time rate. Actually, the more times you advertise, the cheaper it.
The better the deal.
Huh?
The better the deal.
Yeah. So, we have advertisers who have been with us from day one. We have some advertisers who will go in, some who are seasonal, may go in for 3 months and then pull out and then come back again for 3 months. We have quite a few real estate agents in there. One of the real estate agents, Susan Tisbert, gives a monthly real estate update on what's sold in the 2 months prior. She covers Pelham, Hudson, Wyndham, and Salem. And I believe we have another real estate agent who's from Plastow, who's going to be covering Hampstead, Atkinson, and Plastow
Oh,
with
great.
the same type of information.
Oh, that's good.
People love that information.
Yep.
So-and-so's house, it was on for and it sold for $100,000 more. Wow, what am I going to get for my house? They
Yeah.
love that information.
They do.
They like
They
to
do.
see how long the property's been on the market.
Yeah.
So the other thing we're starting is focus on the first responder. And it's basically 5-question questionnaire for any first responder. Pelham will be the first one. No, Wyndham will be the
Wyndham.
first one. Wyndham will be the first one. We're waiting on that now.
Yeah.
So it'll be a picture, in this case, Wyndham Fire, picture of a firefighter. Your favorite, what's your hobby? What do you do in your spare time? Tell us about your family. Something.
Just
and
to
it's-
get to know your
get to know
first
you.
responder.
Yeah, get to know. And so we're gonna kind of cycle around the different towns.
So you'll be reached. So if we provide those emails, all right,
Yes.
municipal emails and things like that, then
The fire chief will do
yeah,
that.
I mean I think that's right in his wheelhouse right there.
It is.
Correct.
No.
In fact, one of the firefighters in Pelham has been writing a monthly article called Flashover for, I don't know, at least a year now, and it's been very well received. And it's very informative, like fire safety, et cetera. You'll see it in there. And also the events that are happening by the fire department or the police department, running charity, 9-mile race or whatever. So
Yeah, I think the Plastow Fire Department is, I think the fire chief has an initiative where you have like junior firefighters and such like that. So
Yep.
there's a cadre of junior firefighters that have gone through the program.
Yeah, that's very active, and there's
Yeah.
Yeah.
and there's kids from all communities a part of that too. It's not just Plastow.
that's the type of thing that
Yeah,
people.
that's a story that I think
Yeah.
that would be a nice fit for something like this in this paper.
But I have to reiterate, though, that as the paper goes the next level is 56 pages. They're going eight-page
Yeah,
increments.
expenses go up.
Need to be able to support it.
Right. So, I mean, just from, not necessarily as a board function, but as, say, if I wanted to push this out to various platforms, this is basic information that for like a Plastow business were to want to advertise in your paper, this is basically the information.
Yeah, what I do
And if
is
they want to get in touch with you,
Yes,
we should-
they can email me.
Yeah.
My card, and I send them out a letter explaining about the evergreen. I send them a PDF of the ad rate sheet. I inform them that we do free ad design.
Okay. I think that's big. That's big right there.
Yeah.
It's like, in terms, that's what you're getting in terms of, if you're going to advertise, you're going to basically assist them in the designing part of it. And I'm looking right, just on this edition here, like page 21. I mean, it looks like it's a full page ad, like LG Tech or whatever.
Yep.
I mean, that's, this is, it's nice.
So
It's-
what's great about that is he writes an article as well.
Yes. Yep.
And so we rely on contributing writers, local contributing writers.
Okay.
And so he does an ad and he does an article, IT related,
Yeah, what's it called? IT.
LG Tech.
Yes, right. But his article is
Oh,
called.
it's it's something.
Yeah.
I should know the
Where
answer to
is
this
it? I
question,
know.
right?
I should. I see this stuff every day.
Yeah, I was just more focused on the fact, what this looks
This is-
like. I mean, this is.
if you look through it, like Lewis Builders, the June issue was in fact, I met with them at the economic development breakfast that the chamber held over at the Artesian at Tuscan Village there. Got to talking to Lewis Builders. They weren't totally familiar with the paper. I showed it to them, et cetera.
I'm just again, say it out loud, just to highlight the synergy that is being brought here is that, we just had the chamber in here to discuss what they could do for local businesses and such. All right. And an event that they held, and you're at that event, and, there it is. You have a
Yes.
local business that's, at a chamber event, and, they've met up with somebody who's going to do some sort of advertising for them locally.
Exactly.
So this is a sort of thing in terms of economic development that we're looking to kind of bring to Plastow businesses.
Yeah, in fact, the chamber also runs a monthly article called Chamber Chatter, just telling people what the upcoming events.
All right. So again, the chamber, again, if we had something of the chamber that we would be pushing out on our media, it's also being amplified in this local publication.
Yeah, and you'll see that we publish their ribbon cuttings and grand openings and everything with a photo and a write-up that they supply for us.
A few minutes ago, Cindy was saying from the chamber that State Representative Tanya Donnelly will be at the Water Forum. Well, Tanya Donnelly is one of our contributing writers on page 10, right? So the whole thing kind of just keeps
They're
like,
all connected.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to ask you to put on your state rep hat there for a second. Then, since we're talking about economic development, this is a fantastic presentation. I think this is gold. But from a state perspective, what is New Hampshire saying about economic development, local and things like that? Or
well, I don't think that we hear enough from our legislators. And one reason why I started the paper is there was nowhere other than social media for me to put out what I wanted to say or what was happening at the State House. And so you'll see I have a legislative update in here. But I want your other legislators that represent Plastow.
that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted to say.
Right?
Is that
We need to hear from them.
Right.
So,
So if they were to, let's say, contribute in some fashion, if they were to like write in, Rep so-and-so or Senator so-and-so.
yes.
Okay. You'd
So
like,
Mark Pearson would write in the Carriagetown News. He approached us and asked, can he put his update in the Evergreen? He will be doing that. But I think that when you elect people, you need to hold them accountable. And the only way to do that is when they lean in and say what's going on, what they're working on, what they're sponsoring, what they're co-sponsoring, what they're supportive of, what they're not. So that's another reason why the Evergreen exists, so that we can get people to lean in. Salem has, I think, I don't know, I think it's maybe 13 or 14 reps. They can take turns, or they can,
Oh, that's a great idea. Maybe somebody doesn't want to be like a slave to
Yeah.
scribe to the pen.
so, absolutely.
Right. No, that's a fantastic idea. No, but I just want to compliment you two on the, I mean, we were just saying that, you know, it's not traditional newspaper in the sense, I like this layout where you can sort of leaf through it.
Yes.
And, you know, and to be honest, it's a lot larger than some of the publications that you pay for.
Yeah.
So I hope it stays that way, and I hope it works out for you and also for Plastow. All right.
Thank you.
If we need to get contact information, if we're interested in doing contact information, then
Yeah, you
we
have
could just-
my
we could just
card
push it.
there.
He gave us
I'm
each a
gonna-
card.
The email address and by the way, on our website, you can see every issue since our first issue. You go to theevergreennewspaper.com/editions. We have a very nice website. In fact, our advertisers can pay through the website.
Who does your website, if you don't mind me asking?
Samantha Penn?
Penn.
Yeah,
Yes.
her name is Samantha Penn.
She used to live here in southern New Hampshire, and she moved to Florida, so she does it remotely for us.
She does a great job.
She does
Outstanding.
do a great job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But, so if you really want to get it started, go to www.theevergreennewspaper.com/thumbs up and do a thumbs up for
Yeah.
somebody in town.
Yes.
But make sure you include the word Plastow in there so that when it prints, people's eyebrows go up.
We print the person's first name and initial in that.
Great job to the chairman of the Plastow Planning Board. Or whatever.
Yeah,
A lot of
but I
thumbs up
know
there, right?
Monday night I'll be at the Old Home Day meeting, so I can bring it up.
Oh, yeah, definitely, yeah.
I'll be at
and-
that meeting.
Okay, I'll give you a few extra cards,
Yeah.
and we have extra newspapers and ad rate sheets that I can leave.
We appreciate it because Fred was just saying today that we're almost full with the Evergreen where it is right now, 48 pages.
Yeah.
Plastow's not even leaning in yet. So we're going to have to go to 56 pages, but we don't have that ad revenue to help support it. Now, I've been subsidizing the paper for some time, but we've got to
Sure.
get a little lift here. So
Yeah.
if you can help.
I think it's low-hanging fruit. I think this is something that, you know, that fills a need and works out for everyone involved, hopefully.
Excellent.
Right.
All right, I'm gonna leave some papers and ad rate sheets there and more of my cards. And we
Very
look
good.
forward to working with you, and thank you for having us here tonight.
All right.
Thank you for
Thank you.
coming.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Folks. Thank you, Plastow.
All right.
I know people do miss the carriage town.
All right.
Thank you again.
All right, thank you. Have a good
Yeah.
night.
Thanks.
All right. So,
You're stiff.
Well, you get to be our age. You're still young.
all right, do we want to move on to the
Public hearing,
public hearing?
yeah.
Okay. All right, I don't. What do we read to open the public hearing? Did we just say that a public hearing for,
Yeah, and
That's
just
it.
read it. PB,
all right, public hearing PB 2407, the adoption of an amendment to the housing chapter of the Plastow Master Plan. A copy of the amended housing chapter will be available on the planning board's page of the Plastow website, plastow.com. And so, public hearing open at 7:40.
A lot of work went into this, and it'll be nice to,
yeah, wrap it up.
exactly. You mean, we've talked about this quite a bit. There's been a lot of input
A while, yeah.
from a lot, so, Tim's done a lot of work on it, Victoria's done a lot of work on it.
Yeah, so I was hoping that you guys got a chance to look through it again. Made it a little prettier. And I did implement most of the changes. So I'll just kind of go down the line and explain myself a little bit. The color-coded comment sheet. So these were comments from Tim. Thank you again, Tim, for setting those in. Printed in landscape formats, making the population section a separate chapter. I don't have the full document for that. I did ask Dee if she could help out with that one, so that should be fine. There was a little bit of difficulty because your current master plan, they did it in a separate program that we don't have. So then if you make it PDF to something, it just gets a little hairy. C, transfer the pictures and ADU inset from the old chapter to the new chapter. I didn't really feel comfortable with stealing the whole inset because it was something that someone else had created. I did take the pictures. Also, within this chapter, we don't really talk about ADUs, so I didn't know where to stick it. If you feel very passionate about it, we can put it in. If you have an idea as to where. We do talk about ADUs more in the land use audit, which I'll go over as well after this public hearing. I didn't know where to put it. It doesn't have a table of contents anymore. Again, I will ask Dee to assist with the whole master plan document and that table of contents. Maybe we can edit that. In the table, in the vision paragraph, page 3, change the text housing and population chapter to just housing section. I didn't think that would make sense because this is what we're talking about. This little table, I took information directly from other existing Plastow documents, so I wanted to have the direct citation. So I added the word previous housing and population chapter.
What page is that?
This is
Okay, this is.
page 2. And then, Tim, I was wondering if you could expand on number 4, eliminate the short paragraph just below the table. Which one were you talking about?
I don't know. I don't.
Well, I didn't do anything because I wasn't sure which table you were talking about. If you think of it by the end of this meeting, I would be happy to make the edits if you want. Number 5 and 6, I changed those. Number 7, again, we didn't have any section of this master plan. We were talking about different types of housing, so we weren't talking about ADUs, so I didn't think that it would fit anywhere. It's mostly housing demographics as well as specific housing information, not types of housing. Number 8 was satisfied. Number 9. Number 10, I really like the idea, but it is building permit data in which towns have given us that RPC has. So I would have to email them and get the information, and I just think it's too late in the game to be doing that. The grant work closes out at the end of the month. So many apologies, but it was a very good point. And then 11 through 17 or 18 were just small fixes, and I did that as well. So I was wondering if you guys had any questions or if there was anything that you wanted me to go over in more detail.
Any questions?
No. From me.
I'm wondering now if I should take away the page numbers because it's going to be slipped in the current master plan, or if I should figure out
Well, some of them
what
don't have
pages.
page numbers on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say you probably could, right?
Take them out or start where we're going to be putting it in.
I'd say probably.
Well, because then we'd have to change all the page numbers on the whole document, and I'm not sure if we have the capability to do that. So maybe I could just take them out.
That's probably the
Or
easiest
say-
thing at this point.
Or say H-1, like H for housing.
That's probably, yeah.
What do you mean H1? H for housing?
Or I could say housing-1, like this is a housing chapter, page
So it'd be
1.
housing,
Instead of,
page 1,
So it has
housing, page 2.
own numbering?
yeah,
Yeah, that would make
if it's
sense.
going to get
I
slipped
think
into the
that
master
makes the
plan.
most sense.
Yeah.
Okay, housing chapter -1.
Right.
Okay, can do.
So would the other ones be that are numbered, let's say, I don't know.
I mean, it should, if this is inserted into the master plan document, then,
You'll just take whatever numbers they are.
then, yeah, it should all renumber.
Maybe I don't. Yeah, we're having D do that, and I don't think that. So it was a group. It was another group that did the master plan, and they did it in a program called Illustrator,
So is that
which
the issue?
we don't have here or at RPC. We don't have Illustrator. It's not a Word document.
I thought they used InDesign, which I.
Yeah, InDesign or Illustrator. Either way, we don't have that. So there. Yeah, I could talk to Dee about it to see what makes more sense, but I'm thinking if we can't change the page numbers, then it's just gonna have to be housing.
Yeah, if she can
dash.
change page numbers, and that
Yeah.
solves the issue.
Yeah. We'll see how far she's gotten along with editing that.
No, I mean, as long as there's a consistent logic to it, right? In other words, we're not going to have like in the middle of like page 7 and then H1. Are we? Yes.
Maybe.
Okay.
We'll see what she can do.
All right.
Or if maybe we can have the previous consultant just take away the page numbers or put it into a Word doc. I don't know. I'm not sure how Dee was going to deal with that. We talked on the phone a couple of days ago, and she said that she got the file, but
Well, she'll probably figure out the easiest way to do it.
yeah.
Yeah, I think at this point, just leave it like it is. Somehow or other, we've got to merge that with the master plan. So
Yeah. I mean, worst case scenario, if we can't cut and splice the current master plan, is it okay to have this as an additional attachment to the master plan?
Well, if that's what we would have to do.
Yeah.
The
'Cause it's
file
like-
can't, the file itself can't be saved, I mean, as a whole, and then, you know, into some format and then have it be inserted, or I'm thinking like an Adobe Pro type approach if it were a PDF.
Yeah, but it's an InDesign file. So I don't know how InDesign copies over to Word. But there has to be a way.
All right, so we,
We've got the language down.
yeah,
You don't
pending,
hang it on page
we're
numbers.
fine with the way it is. But, I mean, in terms of language wise, but in
Yeah,
terms of
we'll
formatting,
figure out
that's the
the page
question.
numbers.
Right. I mean, it'd be nice, you know, you don't want it to be unintelligible where, you know, in the middle of like page 6, there's an H1 and then there's a 7 and then an H2. That might be a little chaotic.
Yeah.
So,
All right, we'll do what makes the most sense.
yeah, there should be some overarching logic to it, I would think.
We're gonna need to be doing some editing to it anyway, because I redid the implementation section. I think this was another case of InDesign to Word, and so it got all messed up. So I basically just redid the whole thing. I also noticed that we never put the economic development goals onto the site for the master plan. So I put those on here as well as the new housing goals.
Oh, thank you.
So we have open space, recreation, housing.
Where is that? The economic goals, or is that just something
It's
you
at the bottom on the last page. Yeah.
All right.
Last page at the bottom is 3 of them. No more than that goes to the next page.
And
There's
that one
10
was
of
the
them.
same as housing where we had goals and then actions under it. So
Okay.
they look a little bit different than the other goals.
All right, cool. Oh, this looks nice.
Yeah, so this one stops at future land use. Same color scheme. I added lines. My eyeballs like lines. I don't know about you guys. This one doesn't have any separation, but this one is more of a table.
So the question, you look at this table right here? This
Yeah,
one?
I made that one
Okay,
because the housing and economic development goals needed to be added to the master plan. So instead of just making housing and expecting D to somehow fit it in there and make it look pretty, I just redid the whole thing. So she'll be able to just replace these couple of pages with.
okay, so that's
What I mean.
that's what's being replaced
Yep,
with this
this
one
is
right
the
here.
current master plan.
All right, the bordering and the lines look much better. It's, at least for me, so.
So there is a draft motion for both the housing chapter and the updates to the implementation section. So that's what that and is.
Okay, and we're looking at, we've made no changes, or are we indicating that we're just awaiting the formatting? I don't think that's a change.
Yeah,
That's just-
no, we didn't make any other
Okay.
changes, just,
All right.
yeah.
So I move to adopt the replacement of the housing chapter and updates to the implementation section of the Plastow Master Plan dated May 27, 2024, and as discussed at this public hearing. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
I,
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? 1, 2, 4, 0, 0.
Oh, thanks,
Sure you close
guys.
the hearing.
So, thank you. What's that?
Sure you close the hearing.
Yay.
And I'll close the public hearing at 7:50. We need to redo the vote.
It's not on the agenda, but I do have the land use regulation audit as well. I don't know if anyone's gotten a chance to look at it. But it's,
Any highlights that we want to hit on there?
you want me to highlight my
Oh, yeah, stuff
42-page document?
Well, you know, some of the more
I
noteworthy.
Wrote with tender love and care. Yes, I do have highlights.
Okay, good.
This box is just from comments. Sorry. It does look neat and cute. So basically, the land use regulation audit analyzes the present and potential strategies for increasing housing opportunities for using local land use controls. Within each strategy, the following components are presented: summarized description, function, existing presence in Plastow if there is any, potential benefit of implementation of the land use control, potential opportunities without the implementation, next step for strategy implementation, and local examples of implementation. So within this document are community recommendations with overall zoning commentary regarding potential amendments and how they relate to current distinct goals and descriptions. So basically, this document is going to be a tool moving forward. There was Housing Opportunity Planning Grant Part 3, and that would have came off of this document. So I went ahead and, where's my table of contents? I went ahead and wrote about all these different housing strategies so that you guys later can go back and read through them if you're ever curious on what they, a little bit more detail of what they are and how they are present in Plastow currently, where they may be present within our community, and any recommendations moving forward in order to increase housing capacity. So we talk about ADUs, adaptive reuse, age-friendly neighborhoods, cluster housing, form-based codes, inclusionary zoning, infill development, manufactured housing, mixed-use development, plan unit development, reduced zoning and subdivision regulation requirements, and tax increment financing, as well as transfer of development rights, workforce housing ordinance. Some other important things that we've done in this document. We did an impact summary using a matrix. So this basically sums up everything that's in this document. We have things rated. So housing impact, it has little pictures of houses. One house, potentially negative effect on housing production, and 3 houses is potentially positive effect. And we do the same thing with community character, community support, and feasibility. So community character, how likely a strategy will impact community character, whether it be historic resources, recreational opportunities, natural resources, or any other community assets. Community support, alignment with master plan goals, public perception, and political feasibility. Does the housing strategy support what the town has communicated as a goal, either directly or indirectly? And then feasibility, how a strategy could be adopted from a logistical and cost perspective. And this is the feasibility part is where a lot of these land use audits look different from community to community. Like we have D, and D is wonderful, and some people don't even have a D, so their feasibility goes way down. So I pretty much summed everything up. So if you guys want to go for the low hanging fruit, this isn't the version that I wanted. That's okay. So some of the more low hanging fruit are going to have smiley faces, 3 pluses for feasibility. So on here, one of those, the thumbs up are supposed to be the smiley faces. I'm sorry, this is not the draft that I
So
wanted.
thumbs up or smiley faces.
Thumbs up or smiley faces in this version. So a good one to kind of focus on low hanging fruit. Good community support, high feasibility, preservation of community character would be mixed use development. That is something that will have a positive impact on housing development, but not necessarily a ton. So it's only 2 houses. We think that it would contribute to community character. So it gets 3 trees. Community support. Everyone loves new, fun commercial businesses that they can shop at. And then the feasibility, adding a mixed-use development component to zoning is not the hardest thing to do compared to adding a whole TIF district.
But we have that, right? With the overlay district in C1,
Yes, let's
right?
go.
Don't we have that?
Let's go to our page and see what we wrote.
Isn't that what you wrote, Tim? The overlay district for C1? That's mixed use.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's jumped on it, though. And that was a couple years ago that we did that.
So mixed use is allowed in certain parts of Plastow. The downside of that, and this is how every section is going to be. It's going to say what is it, go over the local presence, potential benefits, potential constraints, opportunity costs, and considerations for implementation. So mixed use is allowed in certain parts of town, but mixed use is not allowed in the commercial one and the integrated commercial residential districts. And then I go over the potential benefits, which I'm sure that you are all aware of. Potential constraints, I mentioned water, wastewater capacity, price of construction, and permitting. And then I also looped in some of the feedback that we got. So public perception in September 2023. A visual preference survey was conducted to solicit feedback from residents about the future of housing in Plastow. Some residents expressed interest in creating an additional unit in multi-generational housing, while others expressed concern with overcrowding in the community. So that's basically a summary of what people had said and how it might be a constraint when considering mixed-use development. Opportunity cost, less housing development, obviously, missed opportunities for smaller business owners, less housing diversity, potential for increased sprawl, and the same type of development will continue to occur that has been. Large subdivisions with expensive houses. And this is where I get a little bit more into the nitty-gritty details.
I'm confused because I thought mixed use was in C1. I thought that's what we voted on. No?
In the overlay district, yeah.
Yeah. But doesn't that include all of C1?
It does, but it's, if you don't apply the overlay district, then C1 remains just commercial. So it's only if you use the overlay district
Or how about we go mixed?
that you get the mixed use.
C2? Mixed commercial residential. Village center. Adult use. Yeah. I don't see it in C1. What's this? Danville Road Overlay District, which is
No,
under
it-
C1.
There should be something called C1 overlay district.
These are the allowed
I
uses.
think you have to page down more.
So these are the allowed uses within C1.
Yeah, it's not there.
Not there. It is allowed in the C1 Danville Overlay District. And then we're on to C2.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
can you scroll down some more? Because I think it's like something separate.
Village Center, MDR, LDR. RC1.
No, keep going. What's that? No.
That's beyond that table.
These are just the setbacks.
Yeah, keep going.
Residential zone, industrial, C1 overlay.
There it is.
Yep.
I see multifamily.
Well, I thought that was the way that we could have mixed use out in C1. I thought that's what we did with this.
I mean, maybe this commercial square footage saying at least 70% of the total developed square footage must be commercial, and then residential is not to exceed 25%.
I don't know, I thought that was how we were incorporating both out there. Were you on the board then? No.
Well, I could just tweak the language, and definitely now one of my recommendations is going to be to make that clearer, right? Because it's not very.
And it's, I thought it was supposed to also include C3. So what do you mean? We have to do some kind of zoning amendment to?
No, I can just add it as one of a consideration for implementation. Right now, I say consider allowing mixed use in more zoning districts such as integrated commercial and residential in C1. So I could say, I could just add language that says mixed use is allowed within the C1 overlay. But I'm still putting a negative, is that it's hard to understand that that's allowed. And then a consideration for implementation is going to be to strengthen the language in the C1 overlay. Does everyone agree?
Yes.
Mixed use. See, there's all sorts of fun goodies like that in this document because I ripped apart the zoning ordinance. But my main recommendations, key findings. Plastow should develop a workforce housing ordinance. As you all know, Plastow's affordable housing for older persons district can now be used for workforce housing development. Compare the densities used within the affordable housing for older persons district and the planned residential unit subdivision regulations to determine best course of action and consider using a density bonus. I also said infill development through mixed use development should be explored as a strategy for Plastow moving forward. Further studies of the public water capacity should be conducted and should influence the pattern of future development within the town. Mixed-use development also along those main streets that have water could offer spaces for small businesses and a variety of housing options. In other communities, developers have been willing and able to fund infrastructure expansions. And then top housing strategies in the community should be focused on are mixed-use development, infill development, workforce housing, consider allowing more than one ADU in certain areas, and revisiting the various districts and subdivision regulations. So that was
Didn't the
summary.
state senate just shoot that down, having more than one ADU?
That was, the state was gonna make it so that towns have to allow more than one.
Yeah.
Plastow can go above and beyond what the state law says. I don't think it should necessarily be forced upon people.
No.
But yeah. I went through and I made a table of all the allowed residential uses in Plastow and in which commercial residential districts where they're allowed. So single-family homes, multifamily homes, attached ADUs, detached ADUs, mixed-use development, and manufactured homes. Was there any other specific one that you wanted to go over? Also pulled out all the housing terms and definitions. So this is a nice way to orient people to what we're actually talking about here. So giving the definition of affordable housing versus housing choice vouchers and low-income housing tax credit and market rate housing is kind of a way to reframe people's thinking. We're not planning for free housing necessarily. We're planning just for housing in general. We also did the workforce housing definition in the housing law, which puts things into perspective. Subsidized housing. So nowhere in this document are we talking about adding subsidized housing. We're only talking about adding workforce housing and just housing in general. I guess another fun one that I combed through would be cluster housing. Some considerations for implementation for the cluster housing. You guys call it planned residential
Yeah.
development.
Yeah,
It's
so
the
we have,
it's
so
the
we
same
have
thing.
that, right?
Yep.
But before we had, I think, the planned residential development, I can remember voting something on cluster housing. I don't know if that was approved or, that was quite a few years ago when I first lived in town, so we're talking later 90s.
I mean, cluster housing is the same thing as your PRD. Yeah. It's also called conservation subdivision or open space subdivision. It's a subdivision with an open space requirement, which is what yours has.
Yeah.
And it's Plastow's open space requirement is 50%. So the considerations for implementation that I wrote down were considering updating the ordinance so that there's more flexibility on what type of land can count for the 50% open space requirement, or reduce the requirement of qualifying open space. I found that you can't include wetlands, you can't include anything with a elevation or grade higher than, I'm not sure. So you're using all this good developable land and just leaving it for open space. And I think that there should be a little bit more flexibility in that. Consider allowing PRDs to authorize for a certain density, even if the zone they are in do not. PRDs allow greater density, no more than 8 units per acre. But depending on what zone the PRD is in, then the allowed density could be between 110,000 square feet in LDR or 40,000 square feet, which is less than an acre. So you've got like 2.5 acres to less than 1, depending on where the proposed subdivision is going. Explore opportunities for design and technology to allow for alternative configurations in order to provide greater flexibility in lot size and configuration. And then consider density bonus if there is affordable housing. Just go through all of them if you want me to keep talking, or if you guys have specific questions. Form-based code, I didn't push on that too hard. It's not something that I thought Plasta would greatly benefit by, and it was not very feasible. It's a large workload. I did push hard on the infill development. And manufactured housing. As you saw on the table, manufactured housing is not allowed unless it's in a planned residential development.
Tiny houses.
Yep. Yeah, it still has to be in a PRD.
Is there any gradation within manufactured housing? I mean, it's, in terms of what that means. We were saying that's not allowed. Is it just manufactured housing's come a long way?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so that's, I guess.
Yeah, I think that one of my I think the main thing with the problem of manufactured housing is perception and definitions. I don't think that the state has separated the definitions. So you do have trailers. I don't remember the terms, the under pieces, and they're on wheels. You can take them off wheels, but they were on wheels at one point. It's considered a trailer. But then manufactured homes, they're homes that are built somewhere off-site, and then they're put on a flatbed and then delivered, and they do not move. And then there's tiny houses, which is can be a combination of either. It's mainly just public perception. Like, what is the difference between a tiny house on wheels and a trailer, really? Is it just because someone made it with their, at home? I think that's something that we haven't quite gotten a hold of in planning in general. I think that other towns and cities do an okay job at it, but it's basically just public perception of what is the difference between a manufactured home, a trailer park, a subdivision in a subdivision with tiny homes. Especially with the Harmony Homes project. I don't know if you guys saw pictures of that, but they're tiny homes. And Dover, I guess, found a way to word that in their zoning or make it allowable, so that they could build those.
So it required an affirmative rewriting of some sort of zoning to accommodate that. All right.
But my considerations for implementation were pretty soft. Just assess the current use of manufacturing housing within the town and determine if there is a desire for more. And then consider allowing smaller manufactured housing parks without such a large open space requirement, so that the cost of the land could be lower to be split between homeowners. Consider creating local design guidelines for new manufactured housing communities. While the state regulates design of the units themselves, local laws can specify how manufactured housing relates to the landscaping, community layout, site design, and so on, which is not really talked about in PRD at all. Within workforce housing, I added a couple more things because that is such a hot topic. definition of density bonus, and then also explaining what is it not. So workforce housing, just my point getting across with adding the definition, like what is not workforce housing. So I explicitly said workforce housing does not include voucher subsidized housing. This is not public housing for those who cannot work for whatever reason. Not all workforce housing needs to be deed restricted. It can be affordable at market price as well and can exist at any density anywhere within the community. Which is a point that we need to continue to get across. Workforce housing is not housing for people that are other than. Workforce housing is for people that work. But work all the jobs, not just the jobs that get paid $100,000 plus a year and can afford housing.
When you, just a bit of potential constraints, we talk about price of construction and permitting. Did you do, is there some analysis of our current permitting that was done, or, okay?
No, it's mostly just kind of pointing the finger at it as a potential constraint. And then I think the only
But
details.
permitting wouldn't be handled by, I mean, the planning board. That's the, like, building code
Yeah.
enforcement and things like that, right?
Yeah, but when we're talking about housing development of a certain density, it does go to the planning board.
Okay.
And they do have to pay to be in front of the planning board. And as we all know, long subdivision meetings can prove costly if they have a engineer come to all the meetings, lawyers, hydrologic studies, all the stuff that we love.
Hydrochem.
So workforce housing is just apartments, right? It's not, people don't own.
People can work. People can
They
work.
just rent.
People can own workforce housing. Workforce housing is just a level of affordability. And other communities have built housing that is deed restricted at a certain price, which I personally don't think is really feasible for Plastow because someone needs to be in charge of the deeds. And then once someone buys the home at a deed restricted price, they aren't making any money off of this home. They're living in it at an agreed upon price, paying their mortgage, and then the agreed upon rate of return and interest is still very unclear because it's a new program and not many people have done it. So it's mostly apartments, but people have done workforce housing. Deed
Because
restricted.
we did have a, like, if you go down Westville Road, that was mostly apartments. And then they converted to condos.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even if you allow for this, how would the town stop them from converting it to condos? Do you know what I mean? Even if you allow for it.
Yeah. Yeah, there has to be
We
some
don't,
sort
we
of
don't have a
property
housing
manager.
authority or anything.
Yeah, I know.
There's no overseer.
Yeah. So my considerations for implementation of workforce housing were also kind of soft. Workforce housing ordinance is not required to be compliant with the law, so the town should consistently check how the current housing stock lines up with the population and affordability measures. And then not creating a workforce housing ordinance can make it more difficult for Plastow to be in compliance with the workforce housing law, which requires the town to provide reasonable and realistic opportunities for the creation of workforce housing. And then the administrative requirements of ensuring that affordable units remain affordable can be a large undertaking and difficult to enforce. So that was, yeah. It is hard, but the state is just, they just want the good faith effort in order to develop housing that has a chance to be affordable or has a chance to add to the supply, then making the supply slightly more affordable. It's a good faith effort, essentially. But towns do have workforce housing ordinances with density bonuses and restricted, either deed restricted or price restrictions on rents. But again, I didn't label it as something that would be super feasible for Plastow to develop this
Yeah.
whole workforce housing community and have an overseer and have someone kind of keep an eye on deeds. Because we don't have the people for that. So I don't think that you'll find anything incredibly what's the word I'm looking for? I don't think that you'll be surprised with anything that's in here.
I think we're kind of in good shape anyways.
I mean, I don't think anyone's in good shape, but I don't think it's Plastow's fault.
Well, I think, for our size and, I think we have diverse housing in this town.
Yeah, certainly more than other towns.
We don't,
yeah.
I think the past few years, they're starting to build higher end houses, but that hasn't always been the case.
Yeah.
Not compared to our neighbor next door, Atkinson. If you go over there,
Yeah.
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 More and more towns now are building the bigger homes. People are tearing down the old capes and ranches. You don't see those developments anymore that I grew up in.
Yeah.
No. But there is cost savings when it comes to density. So if developers can build on smaller lots with greater density, then they will. But since in a lot of our zoning we do have 1 acre minimums, then they're going to put a big freaking house on there. Because why not? Your crew's there, you might as well make it $1 million instead of a ranch, because someone will buy it just because the market is crazy.
Yeah, but some of these homes look crazy on the small lots.
Yeah.
Yeah, but back in the day when they were making the big neighborhoods, especially around schools, and they were adding the ranches, because it made sense.
Yeah, it was,
Because that's what most people could afford.
yeah, ranches, splits, and capes. That's what
Yeah.
went in.
Now I can't even buy a split with my parents. So. Yeah, I don't know. Look through this. We don't have to vote on this. This is just a resource document that came with the scope of the grants.
So where would this be living, this document?
You can put it online.
I know, but just would be living at just a town of Plastow land use regulation audit.
Where do you want it to live?
Under the planning department or planning board, right?
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Yep. And I can have G print you out a final copy so you could have it in your file.
Yep.
I don't know, whatever you guys bring.
A little zoning.
Your planning board library that you have at home.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, and if you have more specific questions, if you read through it and have more specific questions, just please let me know. You can email me as well. But if you want any more work to be done to it, then it does need to happen this month.
Yeah, because it runs out at the end of the month, basically is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yep. And this is going to be a Word document, so you can edit it.
There you go.
So if you decide that you want to do something with it later on, add stuff or take stuff away or make notes, just good old Microsoft Word.
All right. Cool beans. So is that it then? With,
I believe so.
That's it.
All right.
We already closed the public hearing, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
we did.
Close public hearing. All right, just looking at old business right now. July 3rd, 2024, I thought we had discussed the fact that we're not. gonna be-
Yeah, we're not having a meeting then,
Okay.
right?
Laurie's made a decision.
Yeah,
So,
no, we're not, no.
I'm not arguing.
so not meeting.
Karen would kill us.
Well, we should tell her this is a meeting. She's not here to vote on it.
Exactly. She's in charge.
She'll run it that day. She's the chair that day.
Nice of them.
Old business, site plan subdivision review regulation. Is that, Tim, is that something that you were working with Dion, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, we could probably do that at the August workshop.
August workshop. All right. Budget impact fee review. Didn't we decide that that at least notionally, we wanted to put that out for at least the public,
Well, we'd like to find out how much, right?
what do you mean, find out?
How much it would cost to do the impact fees?
Yeah, so request for proposal.
Yeah.
Chris.
I reached out to RPC director for information, and I didn't get anything. So I'll poke again.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Could we just backpedal for
Sure.
2 seconds? So when are we meeting in July?
Just the public hearing.
So
would be
whatever
the-
the third Wednesday is.
Should be the 17th. That's 2 weeks from the 3rd, right?
So we would still meet the 17th? We're
Yeah.
just not going to do the July 3rd?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and just so that, so that's the public hearing then?
Right.
Okay, just so that it's nothing that's being advertised. I guess that costs a
It's
lot.
just really the workshop is what
Also,
we're
yeah,
missing.
so it costs, so we don't want to cause any angst to the schedule. All right,
If we even have anything.
what's that?
If we even have anything.
Right,
I mean, that can always be figured out that week.
all right,
Okay. Continue, sorry.
all right. I guess last on here, formulation of subcommittee for zoning ordinance review. I guess we talk, we can form whatever subcommittees we want, okay? And if we were going to do that, I guess it's being asked that we do put forward, like, something where we designate who's going to be on it, a charter, what the roles and responsibilities are going to be. So I guess between now and, next time we meet, we can provide, Dee had said
Well,
that
that's
should.
next week.
What's it? Well, then not that next week one. But between now and before we actually establish it, let's say, we'll have maybe like a model charter or something like that. Dee had asked that we kind of put some language together, provide it to her, and then we can review it and then move forward with populating that committee. And like I said, for zoning, I just envision it as being that, just sort of subcommittee that's going to be as zoning is proposed, or if it's proposed, or if it's in, comes into the office, the planning office, that we're in essence contemporaneously made aware of it and then can have an opportunity to review. And, so if there's something that's ripe for like immediate consideration, why wait to the end of the year? So, and
Seeing this as a standing meeting though, or an as needed?
I think if it's created, information can be funneled to it, and if they require a meeting that establishes a quorum, then it would have to be noticed and things like that. But in terms of like zoning comes in or whatever, there's no reason for it to accumulate at the end of the year. Somebody could be looking at it. And then if it makes sense to have a meeting to sort of like really kind of hash over it, then they can do that. So I guess what I want to avoid is, stuff being just sort of notionally being housekeeping or something, all right? And if it's, something like that.
Yeah, so you take care of it as the year goes on.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's more of a study.
Can be, so I mean, it's just like, for instance, tonight, we had the Southern New England Chamber, we've had the Evergreen, but there's no reason, and I think sooner than later, we should probably establish, an economic development subcommittee, all right? And, where we can talk about, goals of the master plan, for the economic development, where we could have this type of meeting, like with, representatives, maybe from, who's going to be on that board. It'd be great to have a representative from the chamber, if they're amenable to that. It'd be great if PACE is amenable to that. It would be great if, key or prominent organizations, nonprofit-wise, wanted to have a seat on, maybe the Lions or something like that. I don't want to speak for them, but I'm just saying hypothetically. All right. And whenever they meet, maybe that's something that meets quarterly or something like that. But, have it be sort of a meet and greet and be where ideas can be exchanged. And, that's not necessarily, so that could be sort of a standing subcommittee. So that's kind of what, I'm looking at there. And if we're going to fill out the economic development portion of the master plan, then, I think in that context, a lot of the work can be done there. Is that something you'd be interested in, Tim, notionally?
I'd be willing to work on the master plan.
Okay. All right, so that's what I'm thinking from a subcommittee perspective. So, anyone else have anything else? All right. I guess a number of people had an issue of opening the attachments, let's say, for the legislative tracking. I don't think that, apparently that doesn't look like it's an issue if like there's something wrong with the attachment. I think you have to have Excel because it is a Microsoft product. So if you are just clicking on it in the context of an attachment, that so maybe it just says I think it tracks and says it's uploading. Is that something then maybe we can put on the agenda that we could just have presented, in terms of what the spreadsheet looks like? Or, if we're not, or if people solve it for themselves just by clicking on the attachment.
Next agenda and ask you to print it out.
All right, yeah, it probably makes sense because I did look at it. It looks like there's a lot of good information on it. And if there's anything noteworthy, like you said, the AUDs, that's a particular piece of legislation where they wanted to have multiple AUDs on one plot, and it looks like that was tabled at the New Hampshire Senate, I believe, or the House. So I guess that's germane to our consideration there. All right. Anything else? Anything else from anyone?
I'm good.
Anything else? All right.
Nope.
All right. And then 8:37, we'll close this June 5th meeting of the Plastow Planning Board. Thank you.